The fabulous comedian David Cross, whose comedy decades ago first raised our eyebrow to lowest common denominator political American stupidity, has a great bit where he says, "I would like to officially change and substitute casting spells and chanting in place of thoughts and prayers." Hilarious and even more American. This is also wonderful and delightful because it draws attention to the fact that language itself is a kind of micro-magic. When a likely faux Christian politician stands at a podium after a Second Amendment-related tragedy and utters the eye-roll-worthy, tired, empty phrase, "thoughts and prayers," instead of passing very popular common-sense policies to help reduce gun violence, what they are actually doing is a kind of spiritual bypassing substituted for a kind of spell casting, through a spell so worn down, so empty of intention that it has become little more than background noise. The words drift out ritualistically to soothe and placate, but not to transform the culture into something better. Imagine if instead of a hollow incantation, they were to admit what it actually is. We are casting spells and chanting, or engaging in magical ritual and doing incantations. Because that is what a lot of speech is. Every utterance is an attempt to shape reality through vibration and symbol. To speak is to weave the air with intention. The tragedy of thoughts and prayers is not that it is mystical or something like such, but that it is a virtue signaling stripped of potency, a ritual gone unconscious. The vast majority of stuff in Abrahamic faiths, which at their most watered down and easily consumable and thus least spiritual are exoteric, meaning outer, are borrowed and co-opted, if not outright stolen from older, pagan, druidic, indigenous, deeper esoteric practices. So to say, casting spells and doing incantations or rituals or something like such would not only be to ground them more in nature and thus real spirituality, but to bring the hidden truth back to the surface. That language has power. That the power can be wielded authentically or cynically. The shamans of old did not speak words lightly. They knew that symbols could open doorways in the mind, that the right phrase in the right moment could heal or destroy. In our society, we had forgotten this, but are sure starting to remember it now, even though the cliches are still babbled as though they were somehow sufficient. What would it mean if public officials more deeply understood their words as spells? It would mean that every promise and proclamation would have to be crafted with much more care. It would mean that responsibility for energetic resonance of speech, and perhaps it would mean fewer empty rituals and more beneficial actions that actually change the fabric of the collective psyche for the better, to evolve it instead of de-evolve it.